everybody, welcome to We Are All Geeks. My name is Kenny, and over to my left,
I'm Felipe.
And it's been a bit of a slow week, but we have stuff to talk about nonetheless. And of course, because it's the new year and everyone's gearing up for E3, it involves E3.
Yep.
Even though it's in June, we're 4 months away, but it's right around the corner at the same time. So the big news this week about E3 is Geoff Kieghley is not showing up to E3. Posited this a couple weeks ago during our last episode, I believe it was, where I said, what if the media just decided to not show up? And guess what? The media is deciding to just not show up. Like, Geoff Kieghley, he's probably the person we've mentioned the most on this show, besides maybe Kojima, but also we mention him every time we mention Kojima. So, because he's...
So let's keep the streak going.
Yeah, he's pretty much Kojima's best friend. And so Geoff Kieghley, though, he is, for all intents and purposes, Mr. Video Game.
Yeah.
Like he so outside of E3, he runs the Game Awards, of course. Right. He hosts the Game Awards. He produces the Game Awards. He also did opening night live for Gamescom, which he has announced he is going to continue to do. There's a contract there, and he's going to continue to do that for them. And then with E3, he did Judges Week. He was the one who organized Judges Week for everybody. So, you know, he's a pretty big deal. And E3 Coliseum, where after the stuff is shown at, you know, a press conference, E3 Coliseum would allow games to sit and breathe and talk more about the mechanics and stuff of it and what the teams were planning on doing.
Right.
So, I mean, off the top of my head, the only major video game show he doesn't have anything to do with is PAX, and even then, I'm pretty sure he hosts things at PAX.
Yeah.
Like, he is the guy that brings all of the media together. Like I said, he ran Judges Week. What Judges Week is when all of the publications and major websites and stuff, they come together to get early previews of the games.
It's where they vote. Whenever you see, like, hey, this is best of E3, you know, like best shooter of E3 or whatever, it's during Judges Week where they...
For the most part.
For the most part, they'll vote on that. You know, the judges get flown out to E3 like a week in advance or something like that. Or it's a little earlier.
Yeah.
They go through all the stuff. They vote on it, and then all the games get announced. And by then, all the judges, for the most part, have seen
it. I mean, there's definitely always the surprises that you play at the show, and that affects those E3 game of the show assignments and stuff. Like Cyberpunk, for example, is usually not at Judges Week. It's at the show floor.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's not happening this year, that we're not getting a Judges Week apparently, is interesting. And
you think we're not getting one at all?
He's doing something, it sounds like, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be the same.
But won't E3 try to like keep that going?
But
they haven't said.
He's not organizing it. It sounds like. It's multi-layered. Let's get into just one of them. So Kieghley went after his Twitter post that basically just says, I'm not going to E3. It's the first time since the show that has been a thing that I'm not going. He's been to every E3 since the first one, and he's not going to do anything there. It doesn't even sound like he's going to be on the show floor. And yeah, he basically talked to IGN. As I looked at the information that was available to me about this year's show, and based on my conversations with the ESA, I just didn't really feel like we could do a Coliseum that would really deliver to the fans. And then someone asked, was it a money thing? And on Twitter later, was it a money thing that you're not doing this? He said, we didn't even get that far.
Wow.
When asked if companies, and I'm reading this again from IGN, go give them the click. Joe Scrubbles was the one who reported on this for him. When asked if companies not taking part in the show were a primary motivation for stepping away, Kieghley explained the lack of unity was a contributing factor, but there were a lot of things that played into my decision.
Weird.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. And then, going over to another article at IGN, this one by Matt Purslow. I'm trying to see if there's anything here that talks about the Judges Week, but he's doing There's going to be something. But it's not going to be Judges Week quite fully. Like I'm trying to find the quote that he gave about it. But yeah, this is definitely one of those first steps to the media just not showing up. Like I said, and this is a blow. Like it really is.
Well, I mean, Nintendo and Microsoft have announced that they are going to be at the show.
We should say there's like 10 developers that announced that they're going to go. Microsoft and Nintendo are two of them. Sega, WB, Take-Two, a few others that I'm just blanking on. Capcom was one of them. Bandai Namco.
I just wonder, that's so weird. I wonder why he's like, no, after seeing the stuff that's going to be at the show, I decided not to go type thing. Like, I don't know. Because I assume that by then, by the time that E3 rolls around, we'll probably have had a Sony and probably a Microsoft press conference of some sort where they'll talk more about the consoles. I just can't believe that those companies will wait until E3 time to finally show more about the consoles. Because by then, companies are going to be announcing PlayStation 5 games, Series X games and stuff like that. So by then, I just can't imagine a world where they're talking about these games, but we just barely found out that, oh no, Xbox Series X does all this crazy stuff, because we need to know that stuff ahead of time before a company steps up. It's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to do, it's all cross-platform now because both consoles have announced that they are going to do cross-platform, some crazy stuff like that. So I don't know, but you think that this year, out of most years where we are on the verge of a new generation starting, that this is the E3 that he's like, no, I'm not going to go to this
I'm out, guys. I'm out. Yeah, this is interesting. I found the quote. It was, so another Twitter user, Max Roberts, asked, what does this mean for Judges Week? And he said there will be a Games Critics Week this year, but not related to E3. So Kieghley is not running a Judges Week, basically. And that's not related to E3. Some of the other stuff he said, just responding, because after he announced this on Twitter, he basically said, AMA, what do you want? Mm-hmm. What do you want to know? I think E3 needs to become more digital and global. It's a brand that means a lot to people, but it shouldn't just be a show floor. Talks about YouTube. He usually hosts a YouTube thing to talk about the games. He said, we're still figuring out plans with YouTube for this year. So it sounds like at least he's just not doing anything with E3 proper. People ask if he's going to show up to EA or Microsoft's conference. He says, we'll see. It sounds like basically he's saying, I'm not going to be dealing with the ESA, which is similar to what Sony basically said. Yeah. We're not going to deal with the ESA. We don't agree with the direction in a large part of what the ESA is doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is it exactly that the ESA is doing to scare everybody away?
I mean, some stuff has been going behind the scenes. There has to be something where all these big companies are backing out of it, or they're like, no, we don't want to. They're taking the one time a year, and granted, the past few years, it hasn't been as much of a big deal. We talked about this last time where E3 is kind of losing some of its prestige, and it's not just because it used to be, here's the one show once a year. It's the one party a year where every single person wants to get in, right?
And now we're not.
And now it's as the years have gone on, then it's now we have PAX, and now we have even the PlayStation Experience, and we have the Game Awards, and we have we have all this other stuff that kind of keeps happening where companies they're kind of spreading out a little bit. So it's not as much as a concentrated thing, but still to have them say, nah, we're not going to. Now, the difference is they're just saying we're not going to go, and not we're not going to go because we're doing our own thing. They're just full on now we're just not going to be there.
Well, that Sony did say we're just going to be focusing more on consumer shows. PAX.
Right. But to have said hey, we're not going to be at E3, but it's what we talked about last time. E3 is the time where like everyone's focusing on these video games. Are they just really not going to do a thing? Like I can't imagine that.
So, E3 fading. Gamescom. Let's talk a little bit about Gamescom because we've mentioned he's still doing ONL, and let's talk a little bit about that because that might be the last stop before console releases. Like that's October, if I remember right. It's like September, October.
I'm pretty sure, like the past few PlayStations have been out early November. I would bet money that this PlayStation is going to be out early November.
2 weeks before Black Friday.
Yeah. That's kind of what I believe. Xbox probably going to be around the same time. You know, it's, I don't know. I feel like I don't know anything. I thought that by now, where we are at in the year, if you asked me this last year, end of last year, that by now we would have already either have seen some stuff about the new consoles or we would know there is a press conference or some sort of event happening this day because that's when they're going to show some stuff. And the fact that we're, you know, smack in the middle of February now and we still haven't had those things, it's everyone's guess now. Like, what the hell are they going to do?
Who knows? We're in the Twilight Zone, man. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like horrifying and so much fun at the same time.
Oh, it's fantastic. No, I love it. I love it because
I love it because it gives us content week in and week out to speculate what the hell is going on.
Well, I love it just because, you know, it can be very formulaic of like, no, this happens this, and then it happens this, and then it happens this, right? But I guess my biggest thing is like, I just want to know because I think what's frustrating is the fact that we know that this is happening. Okay? New consoles are coming out. Now, if they hadn't even announced new consoles and it was all just rumored, then that's different. But they're like, no, we're coming out this year.
Yeah.
And so now we're like, when are we going to find out about this stuff?
They announced that they're coming out this year, last year.
Yeah.
Like
so
we've known, and we're coming up on the most exciting time in gaming. Like every new console release is always the most exciting time in gaming.
It's almost like a soft reset, you know, so to speak, where like the all gaming just kind of, you know, everything just resets. It's the time where a lot of people, they switch platforms and stuff like that. They're like, hey, I'll go for PlayStation to Xbox now or what have you. You know, it's where a lot of new innovation happens. It's a lot of, you know, new
we're getting
franchises.
We're getting ray tracing this generation, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I'm super hyped. It's a good time to be alive, man.
Yeah, you know, and it's good on them, I think, for changing it up. You know, like I don't want to sound all like doom and gloom of like, well, they're not going to be at E3 and video games are done and, you know.
No, and I mean, that's every console generation, it seems like, especially last one, it was everyone's saying console gaming's going to die.
Yeah, this is the last one.
Everyone's moving to computer and PC. We're not getting as much of that this time, which is interesting because I think the last time they said that, we had record-breaking sales on consoles.
Yeah.
We had the PS4 that Sony started trying to benchmark against the PS2. And even Xbox, which by all measures has had a less successful generation than Sony, they're still very successful.
Well, it's that like
it's
what's the thing? It's like the third console hubris or something. There's something like where like every major company that has, you know, had consoles, that's like when you get to like the third or fourth one and you think you're like some, you know, hot shit, and then you're like, I'm gonna do this thing, and it's like,
no. I think it's the winner. I think it's the winner. You remember after PS2 when they announced the $500 price point on the PS3, get a second job, and then on Xbox it's no, you're not gonna be, you're gonna have to. You're not going to be able to trade in your games.
Yeah, this is the one thing you need. It's this.
And then Sony, who lost the PS3 Xbox 360 battle, came out and said, "Here's how you borrow games." You know, the Shuhei and Adam Boy's video.
Yeah, no,
and stuff.
I remember that.
Like,
you know, the Wii U, because the Wii, you know,
The Wii U wasn't as good, and now we're talking about Switch is outselling the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like, it's the winner always suffers. The Wii U having wholeheartedly lost everything. Like, you can't even... Whether or not you put that in the same gen as PS3 and Xbox 360 or PS4 and Xbox One, it got its ass handed to it. Like, it was that was a bad console. It was bad messaging. They could have done so many different things and call it the Wii U because I don't understand the U. But like we've both worked at a retail store for video games, and that was the hardest thing to explain to people, that the Wii U was not the Wii.
It's something different.
It's not just an accessory for the Wii. No, you need this to play the new Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That was such bad messaging.
But we'll see, and that's what excites me, is the fact that like it's almost like I feel like we're running out of time. Like we're getting down to where like, wait, you gotta announce this stuff. Like by
Where's
March,
that, man?
By March at least, I need to know like
I need the
some other
9-month
stuff.
pregnancy time
Yeah.
to know what I'm going to pick up. Granted, I'm probably getting both.
Well, I mean, I'll probably get a PlayStation if I have to pick.
I know if I had to pick,
but
but it's also because me and you are both Sony ponies, so
it's true.
That's just what's going to happen. The Xbox people that were
Please don't
with
ever
us.
say that again.
What, Sony ponies?
That's the worst thing I've ever heard you say in this podcast. It's the worst.
Blame Greg Miller for.
I hate you, Greg Miller. Yeah,
That's a bridge too far, y'all.
we just have to see. So
we didn't even talk about Sony basically announcing that they're going to wait for Microsoft to announce their price point before they announce theirs.
They'll probably be the same price.
You think they're going to be the exact same? Because
I don't know anything nowadays.
There's the people that speculate that last generation, E3, Microsoft always takes the morning shift on E3 Monday, and Sony closes it out. And Microsoft comes out and they announce the $500 price point, and that you have to buy the Kinect with it, and that's why it's $500. And Sony comes out and they undercut them at $400. And there's people, I don't believe those people that say, that they waited for Microsoft to announce and then they announced. But this time, Sony is basically saying that's what they're going to do this time.
But I think what I think when it comes to that is that maybe Sony has let's say that they have the price of $500, and that's what they want to go with. They're just waiting to see if Microsoft announced that theirs is $500, then they're like, okay, ours is also $500. But if Microsoft comes in like it's $400, then do you really think they're like,
that's the question? Because
drop $50 maybe?
Because the reason I doubt the people that say that Sony waited for Microsoft to announce during the last gen was because
those are not decisions that take hours to make.
Yeah, that is a decision, especially during an E3 conference. That is a decision that is locked in like now.
Yeah, they need to know how much they're going to charge us. Hell, even before they start mass production, they need to know, because they're going to see how much. Because
components
generally, consoles are sold at a loss at first because it's new technology. It's like the cutting edge when it comes to consoles. I'm not talking about PC here. And so they sell it at a loss, expecting to sell millions and millions and millions of units.
Yeah.
And then it's usually like after 1 or 2 years that the console's been out is when they actually start to make a profit, because cost of the components go down, but the price stays the same. And so now they're making it and they're making money on it. So the idea that this multi-billion-dollar company is going to, wait to see what the competitor is going to do, and then they're like, well, actually, make a few phone calls to Tokyo in the, when it's going to be in the middle of the night over there, to be like, okay, yeah, are we going to drop the price down $50? $100?
If they went in with that strategy that we're going to undercut them by $100 no matter what, then they don't need to make those phone calls.
I'm thinking same price.
You're thinking $500 each.
Well, that I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be $500. I'm thinking that it's going to be between $400 and $500. That's what the consoles are going to be. But I also think that the consoles are going to be the same price.
Okay. I think $500 each. That's just my assumption.
I'm leaning more towards 400.
You think 4? I mean, as a consumer, as someone who doesn't get a free console, yes, I hope for 4. I am expecting 5.
Definitely not more than 500.
No.
I just
If
can't see
either
that.
one of them hit 6,
No.
then that's not good. Now, if they hit 6 because it's somehow superior, because that's one of the things that Series X is supposed to be doing, is that they have what were they calling the code name for Series X?
Scarlet?
Yeah, and then they had
Project Scarlet or
yeah,
something
they had
like
the
that.
projects.
Oh,
No,
if it's a special edition.
Well, no, they were gonna have one that was the superior machine, and then they were gonna have maybe like an all digital type thing, like an S type
Oh,
thing.
I see. Kind of like the way they have now, where like an S and the X, or like the S
Yes,
and the digital version.
that they were going to launch with 2 SKUs.
Well, I mean, it depends on the difference of the SKU. You know, it depends if they.
But the question is, do you think they can launch one at 500 and then one at 600, or does it have to be 400 and 500? Do you think?
Well, it depends on what it's going to do. If it's kind of like what the Xbox is now, where it's like the Xbox and then the all-digital Xbox, it doesn't have a disc drive, and it's cheaper. If they do something just like that, where it's like, here's the Xbox, the Series X, and this is what it is, and then we have one that doesn't have a disc drive and it's cheaper, I still think 600 is too much. It would be like 5 and 4 if we're going with those pricings. But I just don't believe that they'll do one. Here's this one, and then another one that's more like, they won't do like a PlayStation Pro. They won't do a S and an X. Like, I just don't see them doing like, here's 2 SKUs, but one is more powerful than the other. Like, I don't see them doing that. Because that's what they're going to do in a few years. They'll have the more powerful.
It's what people are expecting of the Switch right now.
Yeah. Although I don't think that the Switch is going to announce any new model this year.
No, I mean, they already kind of shut down that they're going to, but also Nintendo is a bunch of liars. I've said it before. I've said it again.
They are indeed.
You can't trust a thing Nintendo says.
They're the worst.
Miyamoto is over there just lying.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I love Nintendo, and they lie because they have to. But, all right. Anyways, been a busy week for both me and you.
True.
So not a whole bunch to talk about what we've been playing. I want to touch on Pokemon Home real quick and Pokemon Sword and Shield overall.
Okay, go.
So they've added Toxtricity to max grade battles. He's appearing pretty frequently, and I like this Toxtricity max. Gigantamax.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I like the design. I like the electricity poison thing.
I got him as a regular one, so
yeah,
not a Gigantamax, whatever.
I like him as the regular too, but the Gigantamax one is dope. Like that. Wanted to touch on that. They increased. I don't know that they've said they increased it, but they definitely increased the appearance of Orbitals. To the point that I actually have an Orbital G-Max now. Before it was farming for a few hours to see if doing all the stuff that Nintendo doesn't want you to do to get it. So, cool on that. And they added Kingler, or at least made his appearance rate up as well. I've been able to get all 3 of them. I like that they're doing these types of events to get the new Pokemon out. To get new Gigantamaxes out. It's keeping the game fresh. I do thoroughly enjoy it. It's adding a lot of fun to the game for me.
It's a fun game, you know?
It is.
I've been playing it a little bit.
You still doing Nuzlocke?
My Nuzlocke run still goes strong. I've actually too many close calls now. Getting real close to losing. Probably my starter.
Oh,
I get real close to it. I just made it to because I'm playing swords, I made it to the rock gym. It's like at the ice, at the frozen place, and I think Shield is like an ice
Shield
gym, and then the other one's a rock. Gym. Yeah, I just made it there, and then I looped around and went outside the city to like a new route and caught another guy, and now I'm on the way to try that gym. So slowly making my way through that, but there hasn't been a ton of games. But now we're getting into it. Like, it was a drought for no games for a while.
I mean, you are. I'm going to probably pick up Blood Roots at the end of the month because that's a little indie game that appeals to me. I don't have a AAA until Doom now.
Yeah, I actually, like we're recording this right before Darksider Genesis comes out.
On
and
console.
On console. On console.
Asterisk on console.
Very true. It's been out on PC for a bit. It's supposed to be pretty good. Has good reviews on PC.
Yeah,
and so,
it does.
I have that sitting in my car. So as soon as we're done here, gonna go home and play it.
THQ Nordic just having that dead body of the THQ properties.
They're making it work, man. So
they are.
But yeah, there hasn't been a ton, but which I'm fine. Like I've been kind of playing some of these other games. I think play some more Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but
and I've
still
been
the same as the stuff
I've
talked
been
about
playing
last time.
Persona. I just got to another one of those points where it went too long without a save point, and then I died, and I'm like,
It's almost like you forget that happens, and you don't save often enough.
I mean, it's not that I don't save often enough. It's that there's just not a save point between where the last one is and where I die. Like, it just goes too long without a save point. I could backtrack, but then I have to fight everything on my way to backtrack.
That's just more experience.
It's also more chance for me to die and waste time.
You can't just go restart the battle once you die? Or is it just like you're done, reload a save?
In Persona?
Yeah.
No.
You can restart battles in Persona.
How?
We're going to have to talk about this off air. Because
Okay.
Because I've seen it. Because it's happened to me. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, we're gonna have to because that's why I beat the casino. Last time we spoke, I'm at the same point as that.
Okay.
But I'm in Shido's Palace. I can smell the end, but that's it. Like,
you still got a ways to go.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I can.
You gotta get it before Royal.
I'm starting to see the light. Mm-hmm. I mean, Royal comes out a week after Doom. I have time. I have a month and a half before Royal.
That's what I said. Like, I got time, and then I feel like I'm pushing to the wire to finish Persona because I got time and 30 more hours after that. I was like, damn, this game keeps going. Oh my gosh, it's like a great game. I want to check out the Persona 5 Scramble.
Oh man, they got the new gameplay footage out of that. Oh, that looks good.
You can if you have a Switch, you can play it right now if you want.
If you can get
all you have to do is you have to switch your region for your Switch to Japan,
mm-hmm.
and then you just go into the store. Now it's all going to be in Japanese,
right?
But you can probably figure it out. Especially if you've used the Switch enough. The buttons are still located in the same place, so you can go in there. And you can get Persona, you can download it, and then apparently you just need to keep pressing just the A button to as you launch the game to get through all the menu stuff to get to the point you can play the game.
I've watched a couple of gameplay videos on it of people who have done that to play the Persona 5 Scramble demo. Man, that looks.
They're talking like this is Persona 5.2, Persona 5.5. Like
Persona 5-2. Come on now.
This is like.
They're close enough to Square Enix at this point, Atlas over there.
Pretty close to like a full-on sequel to this game. Like there's a ton to do. Like they haven't shown anything about if there's a calendar system or not, but they're basically saying this is like a Persona game if it was just an action RPG.
Right.
So I'm freaking psyched. Too bad we're probably not gonna get it until maybe the end of the year in English.
Yeah, it's June, and they usually take a 6-month period. Because October, and it was Halloween that Persona 5 Royal released in Japan.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
And we're looking at a little bit after St. Patrick's Day, so 5 months. Yeah, it's going to be a holiday title out here.
So hopefully sooner.
Life's hard.
I know, it's the worst. Anyways,
what games are you looking forward to like we are looking forward to Persona 5 Scramble?
It's going to be a good one.
What do you think about E3 and the fact that it's dying a slower death than it should? Let us know in the comments. And, of course, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We really, really want to hit that 100 sub mark soon. So, please, like I've said, got your friend's phone sitting there? Just go to YouTube, subscribe to us. They won't know. They won't know. They won't.
They won't. And if they have a problem, I will personally talk to them.
He will.
Yeah.
He definitely
will. So there you go.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Kenny.
I'm Felipe.